Hi everyone. Ever since Jackson Howard was released in Spin Cycle, it has always been said that noise has been the most hosed runner of all time because that one corp card, which is now an auto-include in pretty much every single deck, hard counters noise because it can reshuffle in the agendas that noise has worked so hard to trash. Today I'm here to explain why noise is a counter to Jackson Howard as much as Jackson Howard is a counter to noise, if not more. You may have seen this this discussion on forums and the like. And yes, I have been inspired by these forums as well as the recent Team Covenant video of the Winter League finals where the Accelerated Diagnostics combo came into play. Noise is able to disrupt the combo in a very unique way. But first, let's start off with talking about Jackson Howard. Now, Jackson Howard is inherently powerful because as long as Jackson Howard hits the table, the corp is always guaranteed to get the reshuffle off. There is nothing as the runner that you can do to stop the corp from reshuffling. It costs 0 to rest, so even if you account siphon or vamp the corp, they can still rest Jackson Howard and use it even if it was on rest. And because it's a paid ability, it can be used anytime, which most crucially is right before the runner chooses to access archives or right before the runner chooses to access Jackson Howard itself. So that is why Jackson Howard is very powerful. However, if now you think on the perspective of the corp, if they are facing against a noise, they will never put a naked Jackson Howard on the table because noise will simply run it and they'll be forced to trash the Jackson Howard. Otherwise, noise will do the job for them with the imp. And yes, you don't want your Jackson Howards to be trash. So corps basically have two options with Jackson Howard. They can either keep it in their hand and wait until they need to reshuffle it, at which point they throw the Jackson Howard on the table and use the reshuffling ability. Secondly, they can put Jackson Howard behind many layers of ice to protect it from being trashed by noise. Now, whichever of these happens, it doesn't matter because both of these give noise an advantage. If the corp chooses to hold it in their hand, noise can easily run HQ and trash any Jackson Howards he sees with impunity. Yes, so holding Jackson Howards in hand is not necessarily a way for the corp to guarantee that a reshuffle will happen. Yes, there's always the risk that Jackson Howard will be trashed straight out of hand. Now, if the corp chooses the more reliable method of hiding Jackson Howard behind a thick layer of ice, well, noise has done its job. While its ability might not be that useful because the corp can reshuffle up to 3 agendas back into R&D, the very fact that they spend multiple pieces of ice to protect the Jackson Howard means that R&D is more porous, HQ is more porous, the scoring remote is more porous, and of course, archives is free entry. So, in any case, the very existence of noise's ability in the game has really done its job because it forces the corp to make a subpar decision by either holding Jackson Howards in their hand or hiding them behind lots of ice. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the other inspiring factor for me making this video is with regards to the Accelerated Diagnostics combo. If you haven't seen my previous video on it, you definitely should go check it out. Now, as you know, the combo relies on 3 components: a power shutdown, a Jackson Howard, and an Accelerated Diagnostics to allow 3 events to be played all at once, no matter where it is in your deck, whether it's in R&D, HQ, or Archives, you can play these 3 cards. So, how can noise disrupt this combo? Well, first the corp starts with a power shutdown, placing the entire R&D into archives. Secondly, they reshuffle 3 cards from from archives into R&D. So now R&D has exactly 3 cards. This is where noise can strike. If noise is able to mill at least one of these cards from R&D right before the Accelerated Diagnostics is played, the corp will not be able to pull off that combo. They will only have 2 of the 3 combo components they need, and they cannot control which 2 they are going to fire, because with Jackson Howard, you need to shuffle in the 3 cards randomly. So as long as you have a way to trigger Noise's ability during the corpse turn as a paid ability, you can easily disrupt the corpse combo and potentially kill that game. Because now their entire R&D, including all their agendas, is in their archives. So that begs the question: what sort of cards can allow Noise to install virus programs during the corpse turn? Currently, there are 2 cards that do so. Unfortunately, they are both out of faction. They're in the Shaper faction, and they both cause quite some influence to include. However, they both have great synergy with other Anarch cards, so including these cards within your Noise deck is perfectly viable. The first is the more expensive in terms of influence, Personal Workshop. Personal Workshop's ability to remove power counters from currently hosted programs is a paid ability. So as long as you have at least 1 piece of virus on Personal Workshop and enough credits to liberate it from Personal Workshop, you can get it off. This is a very, very powerful way to deal with the combo. And the reason why Personal Workshop is very viable in Anarch is because of the existence of the card Steam Hack. Steam Hack allows you to gain 9 credits for free. Essentially, it's when combined with Personal Workshop and lots of programs on Personal Workshop, suddenly Steam Hack essentially becomes a sure gamble that costs 0 and gives you 9 credits. That's how awesome Personal Workshop and Steam Hack combo is. The other option is Clone Chip. Clone Chip installs a program from your heap as long as you pay the install cost. So as long as you have a program in your a virus in your heap and you have the means to pay for it, as long as a clone chip on the table will easily prevent the combo from firing off. In the same vein, SMC, self-modifying code, does the same thing. However, it's not as effective as clone chip, because for clone chip, it is usually used in Anarch faction for parasite recursion, whereas SMC doesn't really allow for recursion, because SMC only allows fetching of viruses from your deck. Now there's a third card that allows you to install viruses, this time from your hand. This is Savoir-Faire, which will appear in the next data pack, Double Time. For those of you who haven't read the spoilers, it reads, it's a program that has 0 install costs, and as a paid ability, by paying 2 credits, which is the same as the cost of an SMC, you can install a program from your grip, paying the install cost. So, as long as you have a virus program in your grip, and you have enough money to pay for the paid ability plus the install costs, you are all set. Of course, the caveat of Savoir-Faire is that we do not know what its influence cost is yet. It might be too hefty for an auto-include in Noise decks, but it is definitely an option that you should look out for. So, this is yet another way to hard counter the combo, the Accelerated Diagnostics combo, in addition to everything that I've listed in my previous video. I hope this has given you some insight as to how Noise is still very much alive and kicking in this meta game, despite the existence of Jackson Howard. Thank you for watching. See you again next time.